We have seen more than half of the cards from the new expansion Murder at Castle Nathria. So I thought it'd be interesting to go through all the cards and pick my top 10 so far. Obviously this might change seeing more of the cards that are going to be released. And most importantly, this is my opinion. If you're excited for this new expansion, make sure to subscribe. It goes without saying that the free legendary Prince Renethal has made quite the impact on the meta, not because it's a 3-mana 3/4, but because it sets your health at 40 and you get a 10 additional cards. It leads to different archetypes and it leads to a bunch of new ways to play Hearthstone. Obviously this isn't a brand new card to us, but this has been a pretty impactful card and I'm pretty sure it will remain impactful for the rest of the time it's in standard. It also feels like a brand new way to play Hearthstone. It was free for everyone. And if it's free for everyone, they picked a good legendary for this. So round of applause to the Hearthstone team. They did a really good job. Overall fantastic. Baroness Vashj looks like an extremely powerful card, not because of its stat line, not because it's necessarily a Naga, but the effect of this card is extremely good in any kind of evolved deck. You basically get to use Vashj for as long as you can evolve stuff, and even if your opponent tries to polymorph or hex this, it actually does not do anything. They actually have to kill it with a spell or they have to kill it with minion combat. But I think the main synergy of this card is going to come with the location that Shaman got. I just think the idea of using the location into Vashj is going to be often enough to just win a game because it's a lot of tempo and your opponent must kill the Baroness, because if you get in an additional turn with Vashj, there is so many other spells that they've already introduced in this expansion that are going to be really good for her. This is a 4-mana 3/6 that works absolutely insane with the location that we already saw for Shaman, but every single evolve effect in the game is like this card just gets so much better. If you don't kill it, this card probably just wins the game for you on the spot. So do we need to talk about this more? I don't think so. Next we have Crisis the Voracious. Obviously a 4-mana 7/7 is pretty great, but the battle cry doesn't seem necessarily as bad when you look at the rest of the Demon Hunter cards introduced into this set, but the Death Rattle effect makes this card a little bit better. You can use this card with the Death Rattle synergy package that they introduced in Forged in the Barrens. Deathspeaker Blackthorn or the 3-mana 3/3 dude can just summon this from your hand, and that seems extremely powerful. And the fact that even if your opponent silences this, they still have to deal with a 7/7. This is also a type of card that fits into an extremely aggressive Demon Hunter deck. You just play this as arguably the top end minion, and then your opponent kills this and you get 3 more cards to hopefully kill your opponent with. This just seems like a very powerful card. Worst case scenario, you get a 4-mana 7/7 that does nothing, like if they silence or whatever. Best case scenario, you're cheating out a 7/7 that is drawing you 3 cards. The best case scenario seems to outweigh how negative how, I don't know, unlikely the fact that you're not going to draw 3 cards from this. So it may turn out that a 4-mana 7/7 is not a meme. Next on the list, we have BB. I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to bother trying. Buffett Begone. What do we call him again? Bagoon? Buffett Bagoon. Am I saying this right? Begin? Bagoon? Buffett Bagoon. Who gives a shit? All right, I'm gonna call this guy Boofit. A 4-mana 2/4 that summons 2 Silverhand recruits is definitely not the best thing I've ever seen. If you are able to fulfill the infuse requirement, this card gets a lot better. Summoning 2 Silverhand recruits with +2 attack and Divine Shield can be quite annoying for a lot of decks to deal with. It just seems like it's a very good fit for a lot of Paladin decks, and I feel like if you're able to play this on curve with the infuse mechanic, this is a game-winning card. Next we have Necro Lord Drakka. Now she is a very spooky card. The ability to get a very big dagger is not only great for tempo, but it can also be a win condition. And I think generally speaking, that's what she's going to be, a win condition. A lot of people will be like, oh, at 4 mana, it might be a little bit too weak. But if you end up saving those cards and you make a very powerful weapon, it could just be the reason that you win the game. This is a good card. See, most people would probably be like, oh, but like for 4 mana, it's so bad. But dude, there is so many ways to get cheap stuff for Rogue, or there's so many ways to get coins. This card gets actually better the longer the game goes on. You don't need to play this on turn 4. Even on turn 6, if you're getting a juicy enough weapon, I'm in. I don't know what you want me to say at this point. It's a good card. If you're going against an aggressive deck and you don't really have the time to make a big weapon, you could just play her on turn 4, hopefully get a 3/3 weapon, and that should just be good enough. Magnifying Glaive looks like a very good weapon for Demon Hunter. You saw Voracious Reader played at a 3-mana 1/3 for an aggressive deck. This looks like it could fit the exact role for Demon Hunter. The benefit of this card is that your opponent can't interact with it unless they have a weapon tech, and you decide when you want to draw the cards. It doesn't just do it at the end of every single turn. It's also really good because it fits exactly to what Crisis also wants to do, which is discard your hand, and after you discard your hand, you attack with your magnifying glaive, draw 3 cards, and it's like you didn't even discard your hand. I mean, let's be real here, dude. Voracious Reader saw play at 3 mana. This card is Voracious Reader, but on steroids, arguably, because you get to decide when you want to draw 3 cards, and for 3 mana, pretty good. Also works really well with Crisis. Primordial Wave looks like a very powerful effect in Shaman. Devolve is currently being used in Wild, and that card was printed years ago. This card basically is the exact same thing, except for the upside of also evolving your own minions. And the synergistic aspect with Vosh can make this card an absolute huge win condition for Shaman. There's just so many different ways of using it. The versatility is insane, and most importantly, it is a nature spell, which means this card can be drawn off the Shaman card that was released in Wailing Caverns, making it an even better card than it already is. Next, we have Mischievous Imp. This card is very powerful in any form of board-centric Warlock deck. The idea of getting a 4-mana 9/9 is absolutely bonkers, and the fact that they're also demons is great. This card also makes Imp King Rafam a good card. You don't really even need to play any other imps for Rafam to be good, because this card already does it on its own. If you are able to fulfill the infuse keyword on curve, this card is absolutely ridiculous. This card is good because I think this card is strong. This card seems extremely powerful. Worst case scenario, you're getting a 4-mana 6/6 worth of stats that are both demons. Best case scenario, you're getting a 4-mana 9/9 of stats that are all demons that potentially can be buffed because it says summon a copy of this. So if this gets any hand buffs whatsoever, it's Picante. This card inspires me to play that archetype. And yes, I do hate myself for saying that. Serrated Bone Spike looks like a very powerful card for Rogue. It fits into the miracle package that they're pushing in this expansion. It also is a very good lunar eclipse for Rogue because not only do you discount spells, but you discount any single card. You could also go preparation into this card to basically prep your own minion, which I think is a very cool effect. But overall, this looks like a very great card for Rogue, and I expect them to play 2 of these because it's that freaking powerful. Kill a minion, but the fact that you could discount any card is pretty great because you can play a minion with this. So you don't have to play a spell. That's pretty good. And it sets up combo, which is very good. If Lunar Eclipse saw play, this probably says play in Rogue. One honorable mention I do have is the Red Herring. I think this card in terms of flavor is absolutely phenomenal, and it might be one of the best design cards I've ever seen. Will this card see play in Constructed? I'm not too sure. It might be a little bit too slow. It is an absolute huge power creep on Sleepy Dragon though, so that's pretty cool. This is a crazy flavorful card. It is amazing. Whoever made this card really deserves it. Like, they deserve an award. This card is fantastic. If they don't have a way to deal with 12 health, your other minions get so much better. But anyways, I'm not here for the effect. I'm here for the flavor, and that's the whole reason it makes the cut. In my opinion, the best card that they showed so far is Kel'Thas Sin Strider. This is a card that lets every 3rd minion you play cost 0. And I don't think this card is necessarily game breaking like the other version of Kel'Thas, but this is a very spooky card. Mainly because in Druid, it's pretty freaking great. You ramp up as Druid, you play this effect, you play a 1-cost minion with it, and you play a very powerful minion early on. This card's also really good with Celestial Alignments, and this is one of those cards that basically says, I'm ready to break the game, just give me enough good minions. If you are able to play Neptulon, for example, on turn 6, you will probably winning the game because that is a very big tempo swing. My opinion of this card may change depending on how much removal is in this set, but again, this is a very spooky card, and I do expect it to see some kind of play because if Hearthstone has taught me anything, is that 0-mana cards are usually pretty great. Not just combo could do turn 5 Neptulon and a 4/7. Again, I think there's potential for this card to be broken, but I don't see it at the moment. I don't see it.
A few moments later.
Someone's gonna go Cal into this on 6. Yeah, maybe Kel'Thas now becomes a little bit of a better card. Now we're seeing some very powerful effects. So Kel'Thas is probably played in Druid. He's probably played in Druid now. This is a Druid card, kind of like the other one was too, right? There are a couple of cards that did not make the list, but I think are very, very powerful. Tome Tampering, I don't think is is going to be very good in standard, but I think it's going to be a meta defining card in wild, and they're most likely going to have to ban it. Lady Darkvein looks extremely good. The idea of getting 2 more curses just from a minion is great, and you also get a ton of stats. I think Burden of Pride is a pretty great stall tool. It also works really well with Infuse and Warrior if they get a very powerful Infuse card. I also think Hedge Mage can be extremely powerful. With more powerful death rattles added to the game, the ability of triggering them immediately in a class like Druid can be extremely good. Let me know what you think are the best cards of this expansion so far. I'm excited to read them, and I'll see you in the next one.